Hey, good morning again, everybody, and welcome to this week's Morning Coffee and a Thought, brought to you by Wings of Faith Ministries here in Sarnia, Ontario. Great to be with you. I've got my coffee here. I hope you have yours. Back when I was a kid growing up, one of the choruses we used to sing in church was a song called "He's All I Need, He's All I Need. Jesus is all I need." Well, this morning I want to talk about two people who are recorded in the Gospels, and really that became a reality in their lives, is Jesus really became all that they needed. They needed a person, and Christ was that person. So that's the thought that we want to tackle this morning. First of all, I want to remind you that Morning Coffee and a Thought can be seen every Friday afternoon beginning at 1 p.m. on our YouTube channel, and every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. on our Facebook page. Also, we want to remind you that Journey of Insight can be seen every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. on our YouTube channel. If you have a prayer request, if you want any information, or you want to make a donation to our ministry, you can reach out to us at wingsoffaithministries.ca. All right, let's get back to our thought. Two people in the Gospels, both men, both faced huge physical challenges which engulfed their lives. The first one is recorded is a man that lives between the old city and the new city of Jericho. We know that over time he lost his sight. And of course, living in the first century AD, having that type of infirmity meant you are down to begging for your existence. And so this man would be by a roadside between the old city of Jericho and the new city, each day begging for his existence. It so happens that one day he hears a crowd stir. He's not sure what it is, and so he probably grabs a hold of someone who's sitting by him, maybe another beggar, and says to him, what's going on? And eventually someone answers him and tells him that Jesus of Nazareth is coming between the two cities. It's at this point that he sees his hope in life, that he's hoping for a life-changing experience. And so from the top of his voice, he says, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." The crowd, hearing him, tells him to be quiet. But he knows Jesus is getting near as the noise of the crowd gets greater and greater. And so even louder, as loud as he can, he calls out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." That term, Son of David, is messianic. And I'm sure as Jesus was ready to pass by, he caught that phrase, "Son of David, have mercy on me." We are told that Jesus immediately stopped and then said to the crowd, "Call him." Immediately, the whole attitude of the crowd changes. The same people who were telling him to be quiet are now cheering him on, saying he wants to speak with you. And when he approaches Jesus, I'm sure led by someone, Jesus says to him, "What can I do for you?" What a question. What can I do for you? Whether it was that Son of David remark, I don't know. But Jesus knew that this blind beggar had a sense of who he was. And so the question, what can I do for you? And he says to Jesus, I want to see, Rabbi. At that point, Jesus says to him, your faith has saved you. Go. In that moment, that man's life totally changed. A life that was engulfed, encompassed by an infirmity, now totally changed, all because of a person. The scriptures say that he just followed the crowd behind Jesus, following him. But I cannot imagine in my mind how a total life being changed, everything about his life would have been changed at that moment. The second account is about a man recorded in John chapter 5. This man is an invalid, disabled. For 38 years, he has sat by a pool. The pool is called Bethesda, meaning house of mercy. He's probably 50 feet from this pool. Now, the belief was that when the waters were stirred in this pool, that it was actually an angel stirring the waters. And the first person who reached the pool and got in after the waters were stirred would be healed. Whether it was true or not, I can't say. But this man believed it. And for 38 years, he was there laying by that pool, hoping that when the waters were stirred, that someone would help him to the pool. It turns out that it's a Jewish festival time. Jesus is in Jerusalem and stops by the pool. Jesus learns that this man has been there for 38 years. Now, whether Jesus approached him because in the mind of Christ he felt he'd been there longer than anybody else, I'm not sure. But Jesus comes up to him and addresses him and then says to him, do you want to get well? The man sees this as a great opportunity. Here's a person. That's all he needed, was a person to help him get to that pool before anybody else. And Jesus says to him, do you want to get well? The man tells him about how his life has been for the last 38 years. I've tried to get there, but I have no one to help me. And someone always beats me to the pool because I can't move as fast as they can. That's been his life. Frustration, disappointment, engulfed by legs that are disabled. Jesus says to him, you don't need that pool. Rise, get up, and walk. At that moment, the man feels something different is happening to his body. He feels strength come into his legs. All of a sudden, that goal in life of getting to that water is now gone. And he begins to stand up. What a miracle this is, because anyone who has never walked for 38 years, to actually be able to be strong enough to stand on his 2 feet, carry his mat, and walk, that's an amazing miracle. His life totally changed because of a person. Both these men, the blind man, blind Bartimaeus, and the man at the pool of Bethesda, their lives totally engulfed by their infirmities. Both needed people to help them, a person. And in this case, that person turned out to be Jesus Christ and went beyond any expectations they had, bringing sight to blind Bartimaeus and healing the man at the pool of Bethesda. You know, we all have needs, and maybe those needs don't engulf us or encompass us the way the man at the pool or blind Bartimaeus' did, but we still have needs, and we still, as those two people, need a person in our lives, and that person is Jesus Christ. And whether the needs are physical challenges or other issues that have come into our life, today we all need a person. That song, He's All I Need, He's All I Need. Jesus is all I need. You know, it doesn't matter what the challenge is that we face, what needs we have, what fears we have. Christ is able to meet our needs. He totally changed the lives of those two men. Today, you may have a need in your life, and I'm here to tell you that the man in the first century, Jesus Christ, who met the all-encompassing needs of these two men, is the same Christ that can meet your need today. Listen, that's my thought. Enjoy your coffee, and we'll talk to you again next week.